You're listening to the After the Show movie podcast brought to you by Ascully.com. And here are your hosts, Ascully and Cidtalk. I've got a song stuck in my head, Cidtalk.
Dua Lipa, by any chance?
It's I know a song that'll get on your nerves.
Don't do that to people. Do not do that to people. I'd rather hear Dua Lipa in my head any day.
Yeah.
Good evening.
We don't talk about music much on the show, but Dua Lipa and Calvin Harris, One Kiss, very good song. I like it. So
I thought that was One Hill.
Well, the song we were just listening to was The Hills, but
The Hills, yeah.
But this song, the song One Kiss by those two, is a good song. If you like house music. If you don't, forget it. Forget what we said. So
this message will self-destruct in 5 seconds.
Correct. What is the before the after the show discussion?
It was you messing with the audio thingy, and
Always.
me over here messing with some pictures, and that was about it. My phone did that thing where the thing says it's not in there, and then I have to fix it. So I was disassembling my phone once again.
It's a Motorola phone, a smartphone, right?
Correct.
And it's badly designed because the place where you put the memory card on the inside of it, after a while, the memory card just slides out of the slot.
Not fully. It's so tiny, but it's enough, obviously.
Not fully, but enough for the phone to think it's got no memory card all of a sudden.
And for the lovely listeners, I'm not nice to technology. I'm not all delicate and shit. It's not precious to me. So if my phone falls out of my pocket onto the street, down on the thing, out of my hand, I throw it in my bag, whatever. So it needs to be sturdy.
Partially it's your fault.
Partially, I'm not going to deny that I probably rattle it enough but it should be made so it wouldn't slide out. So I've put a little, to your suggestion, I put a little electrical tape in there. Did a little MacGyvering.
Yep.
See if that works. I'm sure that's as riveting information.
Well, you know what? There's somebody out there now going, crap, that happens to mine all the time.
I love the Motorola, though. I will never be an iPhone person. We have one at work, and I hate it. So I've just divided everybody out there. But I love my big, chunky, substantial Motorola. Android. I love it. So there you go. It's not an advertisement. I'm just one of those people.
Sponsored by Android.
I wish. Lifetime full of free phones. I'll take it.
All right. So this would be this. I'm going to choke to death.
Please don't choke.
Just let me choke to death first. This is the weekend of April the 28th, 2018. And this is after the show number 528. We are a movie review podcast. We don't just talk about phones and how to MacGyver them. We talk about movies. And this week, the movie we're looking at is The Commuter. It's a 2017 movie. It's actually out now on Blu-ray and 4K and streaming. It's rated R. It might not be rated R, even though I put down R.
It doesn't seem like it.
It doesn't seem like it, does it? It's not bloodthirsty. It's not. No. It might not be R. Don't take my word for it. I'm going for PG-13.
It's a mystery. We'll just leave it open.
Yeah. And it's from our friends at Lionsgate. And Cidtalk will give you the synopsis of The Commuter.
Synopsis? Have you seen a Liam Neeson movie in the last 15 years?
It's one of those.
It's one of those. It's a guy who was a cop. He's in a situation where there's a lot of people, a mystery to solve, lives to save. There's some fights and some destruction. It's really not complicated.
You forgot the main part. He has a very special set of skills.
He didn't say that.
He didn't say it, but he does.
But now we know, after movie after movie after movie, that this is the situation.
Yeah.
You don't want to cross him.
Correct.
I will say, though, I'll tell you, my favorite thing about this movie before we start is that they allowed him to be Irish. I mean, correct. Good God. Let's let the people with accents have accents in our movies. And they didn't shy away from it. I love that. Yeah,
they didn't. In that non-stop movie that we watched with him in it, which was this film but on a plane instead of a train, he was like a phony American in that one. With his phony Liam Neeson American accent. So, that's one of my pet hates for movies, actually. When, like, Hollywood seem to think nobody can understand anybody but Americans, so everybody has to be American. I don't like that.
I disagree with that. Although, I'll be honest, there are times when we all watch a lot of British TV, British, Irish, Welsh television mixed together there. It all mixes together to me, but there are certain accents from your part of the world that I do have a hard time understanding, and I just sort of go with the flow, and at the end of a conversation or of a scene, I'm like, I think I got what that was about, but I didn't quite catch every word.
Sometimes
but I don't want them to change it. I wouldn't want them to change it. It's my problem, not theirs.
Yeah, it is. You should learn all the dialects from all over the world and then sort it out. To be honest, though, when we watch English MasterChef sometimes, there are some Scottish people who have such a Scottish accent that I can't even get it.
And they do subtitle them. Even the British, the BBC.
Yeah,
will subtitle different accents.
Go,
so.
This guy, you've not got a chat. You've not got a hope in hell of understanding this guy, so we'll subtitle him. Anyway, to the movie. Liam Neeson in The Commuter. It's the latest film from director Jean-Claude Serra. He's a Spanish director, and he is famous for these type of movies. Actually, high stakes action, and this is a high stakes action movie. And I have to say, because the last movie we watched was phenomenal, right? Wasn't it? Hostiles. And the one before that we didn't like, which was a high-stakes action movie called Geostorm. We both did not like that one. This one, even though it's probably as intelligent as Geostorm, really, I found it more enjoyable than that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'd rather watch this. It just felt like it had a quality to it. Partially, it's got a good cast, this movie, I think. I like a lot of the people in the movie, but nobody's, doing anything special, are they? They're just there, you know what I mean? Nobody's,
True.
even Vera Farmiga, which is a really good actress. I mean, she's just there as she's in this movie.
Yeah, and she's not super intimidating. There'll be spoilers in our discussion here, of course. She's not super intimidating as the person who should feel creepy and intimidating. She's just more matter of fact, which can be its own type of intimidation, but it didn't even go there, even though I love her. I love Vera. I think she's awesome.
Yeah. So this is a bit of a, it's an action movie, and it's also like a mystery whodunit kind of deal. And you're trying to, the main characters trying to figure out what's going on while you are always going, oh, and it's one of those movies where anybody could be the bad guy. So you kind of you're very suspicious about everybody you meet in the whole movie. And was this movie so dumb that you figured it out quickly? Cidtalk?
Yes.
No, I didn't figure it out till the end.
I figured it out 90%. Because I don't know if it's 90%. There were...
We'll not spoil the end.
No. Okay, then. I was pretty much there. Yeah.
Yeah,
I had a 50-50 chance of being right. And it was immediate, the first 2 minutes. So...
In my mind, at the beginning, when it's... Let's explain.
No spoiler. You're not spoiling it, though.
No, I'm doing some spoilers of the movie overall, but not the ending. I won't tell you what happens at the end. But I'll just set up what the movie really is. Liam Neeson's this guy. He's been going to work every day for 10 years. In fact, that opening sequence is really cool, isn't it? Where it shows you the same, how mundane life is.
Oh, absolutely. I love that.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's it shows you him waking up every morning and having his breakfast with his family. But it shows you, maybe 10 instances of that in different periods. Sometimes it's winter, sometimes it's summer, and you're seeing it chopped together, out of sequence. But it gives you the impression of...
Although, to be fair, American Dad did it a few seasons ago, when Fran's morning was repeated and with little variations with a Beatles song, actually, to it. And it did that there's a little bit of difference, the breakfast was a little bit different every morning. I'm comparing this to an animation, but it's not exactly the first time it's been done. But yeah, it was done better. And well. Right,
so it opens like that, and you get the idea, he's a guy, he goes to work every day, he's an insurance salesman, and he goes into the city, and he gets on this train, and he, if you did that every day, you would recognize people on the train eventually, wouldn't you? You might make friends with some people on the train because you're doing the same thing every day.
Yeah, it's the same as at my job. Like, I'm not riding the train, but at work, when there's 105 people in the area, you don't get to know them all, but you all go through the same routine every day. You know where they all sit, and you know if they have coffee, and you know this one goes to breakfast at 7 and this one goes in the break room at 11:35. You get in that sort of weird familiar, unfamiliar thing with people. So I totally got that.
Yeah. So that's the setup of this movie. He's going to work every day on the train. He goes to work one day on the train and goes to work, and he gets fired from his job. And then on his way home from that particularly shitty day that he's having, he's approached by a lady in the train.
To do a thing. Just make a decision to do a thing. And then
yeah, one of those like what if kind of things. There's some money over there. Would you take it? Would you not take it? You just got to do one thing for me. And that was where I was like, is this one of those like things like a silly, like, the thing that we watched? Not silly. I actually kind of liked it. Called Nerve, where it was like a game show. At first I actually thought that. I thought, wow, this is one of those game show things where it might pan back at some moment and show that everybody's watching this guy and what he's going to do. You really
made a huge leap there. I got none of that vibe whatsoever.
But in my mind, I was like, why the hell would somebody approach him on a train to do this? And then I was like, hold on, it could be some high concept game show thing or something like that. That's what I was thinking. Now, it doesn't turn out to be that, does it? It turns out to be something less, something more real than that.
More interesting than that, but obviously very fantastical.
Yeah, ridiculous almost. It's the way, it goes from one extreme to another because, you need that in a film according to the director of this movie. You need it to step up and you need explosions, it needs to keep going. And that's what this movie does. It just, he's given this thing, will you do this, won't you do this? He starts on the process of doing it, and then it keeps stepping up, and the stakes keep getting higher and higher. The
problem with this query, right? This question of all humanity, because we've had it in, what was it called? The Button?
Yes.
What it was called. Are you willing to do a thing that has no consequence to you whatsoever, but you will gain something, but you don't know what the consequence will be for someone else?
It's the same as that, isn't it?
This is an overthought, overly literary thinking. Like I won't say normal, but if you did this to me, I'd be like, no, I'm not doing shit, man. I have no idea what you're even talking about. No, fuck off. That would be it. I do not understand.
I wouldn't want to watch your movie then.
I'm not. My movie would be very short. I'm just saying this is an overthought thing that plants in someone's mind. Ooh, what would I do? No, you know what you would do. Unless you're a complete asshole. There are two types of people.
Stupid. Very stupid.
No, just asshole. Because you've been told you have no consequences and you don't know what the consequences will be for someone else if you do this, but we're going to give you some money or whatever it is. Okay, no thanks. I pass.
Yeah.
Move on. But when literary people, and I'm going to say this, and I don't want to sound sexist, but it's going to sound very sexist, but also, mostly don't you think men would fall for this trap?
Yeah.
Because, and a certain type, not all, certain type of selfish, greedy, like, can't cope with, because he's in a desperate situation.
Convenient.
So, because he can't cope on his own and figure that shit out, he will, what, just do anything? No. I mean, it depends on the circumstance. Like, if I'm literally holding one of the children that I love in life, I don't have my own, but someone else's, and someone comes at us with a knife and says, I can either stab you to death or the child, I would say, stab me to death, and that's fine. We'll move on. That's a different situation than, like, I don't know what's going to happen, And again, even some people would take that question and go, what would our character do in that situation? You're overthinking it. He should have just said no and then made the movie more interesting by them shoehorning him into it instead of it being that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But that was my other weird thing about it. It's like, that's just one of those situations. We need to stop covering it because it's not an interesting quandary.
I mean, it's a super movie-ish thing, isn't it? It's just,
Yeah, it's like I'm saying, it's very made up. It's like a fictional thing. And what it does is it gives people like an open door to go, oh, maybe I could opt for this super selfish, assholey choice and just walk away. Like, no, you just, if you want to be a humane person, then my movie would have been very short.
This is a lot like the other movie that this guy made called Non-Stop.
Yep.
On an airplane.
It's like the same movie, but on a train.
Decision. Yeah. On the airplane one, he's also faced with a decision. Oh, we're going to do terroristy things if you don't follow our instructions. And we're going to kill people every so often. So you have a moral thing to do what we say or don't do what we say. And, you know, it's the same. This is really that movie, but in a train. So what did you think of it as an action movie, though? Did you like it?
I did enjoy it.
Yeah.
But I also, like I said, I admitted to enjoying watching Geostorm, even though I think it's really super bad. This one isn't bad. It's just very standard. It's right in the middle. It's got a little bit better. There were times I was pushing my head into the chair, like, oh God, like there's a train wreck.
Yeah.
And I was like, shit, you know? And then other times it builds up the tension pretty good in a way that I'm like, oh God, the music was right and the people were right. And I really enjoyed, but I do love the Bourne movies. And I think people have learned a little bit of that, you know, make the fights like really intense. And I'm not a fight person. You can tell everybody. I do not like fight scenes. They're really super boring. There are fight
scenes in this movie.
I don't like racing scenes. I don't like fight scenes. I don't like long space battles or anything that's just super boring and repetitive. However, when you do it in a way like this movie did do good fight scenes. Yeah, it's hardcore. It's severe. It's in a small space. It's very mano a mano. So I felt like that was a bonus.
Yeah, it's the benchmark for me for really cool fight scenes at the moment is Atomic Blonde. I think that had the best fight scenes of all fight scenes that I've seen. So this one don't come close to that. But you know that scene where he's fighting and the window of the train, let's just say. That was pretty cool, yeah.
Yeah.
And it was one of those like, oh, just in time kind of things.
Yeah, but you know,
yeah, but
I appreciate it.
And I said to you that whole fight there, it felt like a video game boss. Like he was actually, like it was really over the top, and it was like, oh.
It took a very specific set of skills.
Yeah, and it was very, very specifically choreographed, but it was fun to watch. But there's a lot of that in this movie. It's really fun to watch. The music and the way it is it's kind of breadcrumbs. It's slowly like, oh, this could be it. Oh, look at that guy over there. Like, oh, I'm suspicious. Oh, now we're starting to understand what is going on a little, and it's kind of just the right pace, I think. Because eventually, you know, you get to know what it is, and you get to see Liam Neeson, would you say, solve the situation, really, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's no spoilers. It's a Liam Neeson movie. There's a thing, and he will help. I mean, he's not going to die at the end. That's just not going to happen.
That's a big spoiler. You said you weren't going to spoil the end.
Yeah, that's just not going to happen, is it, though? In a movie like this. I mean, he is going to win in some respect. But the action, you know what? If I have anything, I really enjoyed it as for what it is. But if I have to, like, criticize it in any way, it's very green screeny, like, all the time.
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of that.
Like, all the time. They're obviously not in a real train. It's quite clear when you're watching the movie that they're not in a real train. It kind of distracts me sometimes because, you know, that moving window, like where you see a video. There's a video basically in the window, isn't there?
It kind of wiggles a little.
Yeah, it just doesn't look legit. Like it looks, you know, like in old movies where they're driving a car and there's like a thing behind them that's projecting the road behind them.
It really did.
It looks like that a lot. Yeah, so it kind of irritated me a bit. There was like fake lens flares put in and stuff to make it look kind of realistic, I guess, but it makes it look less realistic to me. It's almost like he's Qui-Gon Jinn again and he's fighting on the CG background, you know?
The train wreck part, unfortunately, did have a lot of that.
The train wreck looked like a model train crashing in parts.
But I liked it. It was very severe.
It was,
so
I think the audio made it better than it was.
True.
Because it really sounded good. But you know, like the train carriage up in the air, That looked like one of those Hornby train sets, like just being lit. So, they're not perfect, the special effects, but they kind of do the job.
But here's the key. A movie like Geostorm, I'm not comparing them because they're very different. However, there's so much that takes you out, of the bubble of belief or whatever it is called, that all of the flaws, it's all flaws with very little else to hold on to. In a movie like this one, even though obviously it's not a great film.
No.
It's not a cinematic thing or anything. However, there's enough going on. I do like the way the inside of the train looks. I like this sort of obvious collection of characters we've put together. It's like you're reading a novel about the whodunit kind of a thing. I kind of like that because it's done well enough.
Yeah.
That's not a rave review, but it's done enough so that I am still in it. I'm waiting for the next thing.
Yeah.
Even though, I was pretty sure I knew where it was going, but I was like, hell yeah, bud, I'm along for this ride, literally, and for the movie. And that's the balance, that you could show me a crappy movie, and I've said this many times, I love crappy zombie movies. They could be the most ridiculous, lame. I mean, I've had a few that I've had to fast forward through, to be honest, really lame ones. Those are really low on the scale. But I'll sit through almost any horror movie and appreciate the good stuff if I can. So I'm not a snob about things, but this one is just right. It's like if you wanted to get some beers and a pizza and hang out and watch a movie with your friends on a Friday night. This, or Yippee-ki-yay, Mother Trucker.
Yeah, this is...
that kind of a thing.
This is the Die Hard template, kind of. It's that kind of movie.
Sure.
Yeah.
The unknowing guy has to step in and save the day.
Yeah. And there is something fun about that, always. Even though you're not going to be scratching your head guessing what's going on, really. It's pretty ordinary. And when they do kind of explain what it is, it's not that fun or anything, is it?
We're not making it sound great, but it's really hard when it's... Yeah.
But there's no big like, oh, that's what it is. Because when it comes down to it, it's like, oh, that's what it is. That was it for me. I was like, oh, yeah, okay. It's just pretty standard, really, as far as these movies go. But yeah, it does have... It's way better than Geostorm. That's not a good praise of it. But I think it might be down...
It's not better as in intelligence, so let's not overhype it, but it's better as in it engaged me. I was interested, and I was along, and I was having a good time. I even, halfway through, you were like, I gotta pee, and I'm like, I'm making popcorn for this one. This is like a popcorn flick, and I was like... eating my popcorn really fast because came to some section of it. And I was thinking if someone was making a commercial for movie watchers, like shoving the popcorn in their mouth and eyes wide open, that would have been me at that moment.
Well, that's exactly what this movie is. It's one of those like Friday night. Here's an action movie, and you'll have fun. It won't surprise you probably in many ways, but you'll not think it was a load of crap at the end. Like
you might. Oh, some people are going to hate it, but still.
Well, I like that I can like lots of different movies.
Yeah.
Because we like Hostiles. It's a very, very different movie than this.
Oh, yeah. Really good.
Very, very different last week's movie. But this movie, this is pretty low common denominator movie. I can still enjoy it in that way. Or
even like we bring up a lot like Tree of Life by Malick, things like that. We also really enjoy.
Or Phantom Thread that we watched recently.
Exactly.
They're a very different movie to this movie, but there's...
That's what I say. I don't like the label, but I will label other people as movie snobs, but I'm definitely not one because I have some pretty low ones on my list.
And all the movie snob type people, this movie would be,
You would think.
Yeah. But, and what I think makes it better than Geostorm that we watched recently is the cast. I think the cast of Geostorm were pretty bad. They were not very good. But there are some actual quality people in this movie. Like I said earlier, though, even though they're not really, like, stretching their legs much, they're just in it. Like, there's some faces I know. Like, Jonathan Banks as Walt, you're just like, well, he's just playing Mike. Right?
How about Mike from Breaking Bad?
That's what I just said.
Oh.
He's literally just playing Mike, right?
Yeah.
It's like Mike stepped on that train. And the same with Vera Farmiga. It's the same as what she always plays. Everybody's just...
Oh, no, I wouldn't say that about her, but
I feel that they're all just they're familiar faces, but then nobody's really like stretching their legs in any way. But it actually elevates it slightly because you know the people. Like you think, oh, well, they're quality actors, some of those people.
I don't think that elevates it. I disagree with you. Just because you know a person doesn't make it better.
I think it did for me compared to Geostorm, where everybody in Geostorm was doing a poor job of acting.
Yeah, but that could have been anybody.
Even though I liked, Gerard Butler, I was like, well, he can do a good job sometimes, but he was just really like not. But
I think it's unfair to say that because you know them, it makes it better. That's unreasonable.
Well, I'm saying even the people in this, I do know them from other things, but even them just not stretching their legs much is still way better than some Geostorm acting.
Mm.
So moving on to the cast here, Liam Neeson plays Michael McCauley. And as we just said, Liam Neeson's played this part at least 5 other times, right? Maybe more.
At least.
And, Run All Night. He played this part. What else did he play this part in? Taken 1, 2, and 3.
Kind of Grey. The Grey.
The Grey, yes.
Kind of. It was a bit different. Let's be honest. He was a bit more intense in that one, but it still was the same idea. He'd had old skills that had to come into play, and he had to save the day.
Obviously non-stop, which is literally this movie, but on a plane.
Love Actually.
Yep. Star Wars.
Don't know about Star Wars.
He had a very special set of skills, Jedi skills.
He did.
So, yeah, Liam Neeson is not doing anything you've not seen him do before. But is that a bad thing? Because if you do like to watch Liam Neeson kicking some ass and figuring some things out, he's doing that, right?
Yep.
And he's found his niche in movies. How old did we say?
Oh, I don't know. We didn't get his age.
Alexa, how old is Liam Neeson?
Liam Neeson is 65 years old.
All right, he's 65 years old, and, he is, like, it's an action movie. It's the kind of movie Bruce Willis used to be in charge of, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he's took his role over. Like he's like the big action star. When I think of action stars now, I do think of Liam Neeson. So I got to give him props. 65 years old. He's hanging from a train. He's fighting somebody.
Remember, the train is inside of a studio. It's not even
true, and there's probably carpet on the floor underneath him.
I'm not saying it's not a challenge, but come on, they're not going to put him in danger.
He's not. Well, not just in danger, but it's physical. It's a physical role. He's rolling around on the floor. He's
true.
Firing blanks at people, and it sounds really. Vera Farmiga plays Joanna. What did you think of her? You liked her, didn't you?
I do like her. However, it could have been anybody. It just needs to be a woman who does it. I think that the role being a woman did make a difference. I just think that it didn't showcase anybody.
With it being set on a train, they should have used Emily Blunt, because she's used to being on a train.
What are you talking about?
The girl on the train.
Oh my God. You're so hilarious.
Vera Farmiga, she was all right. I mean, there wasn't actually much to her part, even though she's like pivotal in the thing. She's in it very, 10 minutes of the whole movie?
If that, yeah. And her voice.
Patrick Wilson, who you will all know. You will all know Patrick Wilson. He's from the 2nd season of Fargo, most notably, because he was excellent in that.
Do you think everyone watched Fargo?
He was also in the Watchmen movie. And he was also in... What else was he? Oh, what most people will know him from is The Conjuring.
Conjuring.
Yep. And he was in both of those with Vera Farmiga.
Yep.
So that's the, and I like Patrick Wilson a lot. I won't say who he is in this movie. He's a guy. He's friend.
Mm-hmm.
He isn't in it a lot. Maybe 10 minutes again. Would you say?
Oh, yeah, not much at all.
So if you're a Patrick Wilson fan, don't come in here thinking he's like the star. He's not really. Jonathan Banks, who you will all know from the Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, where he is excellent in Better Call Saul.
Yeah, you get more of him in that one, right?
Did you see what his character name was in this movie?
Huh.
Walt.
Oh, Walt.
So I think that was just a little joke.
Nice.
There. But Jonathan Banks, I really like him. He's a really good character actor. A lot of people probably don't know him, but I've seen him in something. But in Better Call Saul and in Breaking Bad, he was excellent. You will know him in there. From there is Mike the Hitman. And in this, again, he's in it for about 10 minutes. Most people are in it about 10 minutes in this movie, aren't they? Unless you're Liam Neeson, then you're in it for the duration.
And everyone on the train.
Yeah. But Jonathan Banks, I really like him, but like, again, he's just in it short. And another person who you'll know, Sam Neill, who I didn't realize Sam Neill had got that old. I was like, whoa, Sam Neill got really old. I've not seen him for a while.
Is that Jurassic Park?
Yeah, Jurassic Park. That's probably the last time I saw him. That's what I feel like. The last movie I saw him in was Jurassic Park.
No, he was in something else. That wasn't great.
Yeah, well, Sam Neill appears here as the Captain Hawthorne, police guy, chief.
Very brief.
Very brief again. Everybody is very brief.
I think everybody must like this director, and then when he says I've got Liam on board, then they're all just like, yep.
And Vera, and yeah, it's like...
Well, no, I think just Liam is enough to hook him.
Right. So yeah, that's the main cast. Directed by Jaume Collet-Serra. He's, like I say, Spanish director. He's famous for, like, he did the movie The Shallows with Blake Lively, which I actually really liked. I thought that was a cool movie, a shark movie that pretty much takes place with her. It's really suspenseful, and she's just stuck on this rock. She's injured, and there's a shark circling her, and that's the whole movie. It's like... It
sounds riveting.
But it was a good movie, right? It was a cool shark movie. I really liked it. And the other movie that you'll know him from is Non-Stop, which is this movie on a plane. And one of my recommendations this week, which is my favourite movie by him, is Orphan, which is a horror movie that he did a long time ago, which is actually getting remade apparently soon. So I like him as a director. There's a bit of, like you say, he's a bit shaky cam, isn't he, in this movie?
Oh, God. That was my...
It's not terrible.
It didn't last throughout, so that was good.
Yeah, it's not spinny cam.
It was at the point of being like, oh my God, are you kidding me? What are you, from like the 8th grade?
Yeah. But
with your film camera trying to be filmy. Yeah.
There are some cool like shots in this movie where the camera pans back. We know it's CG because they've only got one carriage. Where they do like a they pan the camera through it goes through windows basically, but the camera keeps going back through the whole train. And they've CG manipulated it and stuck all the things together. But I mean, it's a cool shot when you see it. There's quite a few cool like shots like that. When Liam Neeson's having the fight and his head goes out the window, that's a cool shot. There's a lot of... There is no train in this movie. It's all on a soundstage. There's a fake train with no side on it. So anything you see is all CG trickery. And like I said earlier, it does look really green screeny a lot. There's a lot of times where I'm like, oh, it's too much green screen. But it does have a cool like feel to it. I think it's kind of like how he did Non-Stop on the plane. He did a lot of that cool camera work where the camera goes outside the plane and then back in through a different window. But it's obvious, like Liam Neeson, who has found this little niche thing that he does, this director has also got this same niche. He likes these action movies that are very specific. And, there's an audience for them, right?
Obviously. I mean, I enjoy it. It just doesn't stay with me very long.
No, it won't, but it's fun while you watch it. And, not every movie has to speak to you in like some, profound way, does it? There's also entertainment.
Absolutely.
Like, extras on this Blu-ray, there are just 2 featurettes. They're not very long. They don't really... I call the first featurette where the filmmakers big themselves up.
Oh, God, yes.
In
Big
fact,
time.
The end part of this whole thing is cut like a movie trailer. And it's just them saying, oh, well, we're so,
We're
pretty
great.
Much, we're awesome. We're great.
We're Hitchcock. We're Hitchcockian. We're Agatha Christie. And I was just like, no, you're not.
So they're both those press kit kind of things, which...
Here's my take on this. People have, in anything along the way, video games, fine arts, graphic arts, music, literature, poetry, filmmaking, storytelling, all of it, anything creative. Somebody makes a thing and everyone is drawn to it because it's like elevated above what they're used to and they use the tools of the trade in a different way and it is better,
right,
subjective, than a lot of what's been going on before. So if you have come across Hitchcock, in the late 40s, 50s, 60s, and that elevates things for some people. So they put him up on a pedestal. That's someone else deciding that Hitchcockian stories and movies are up on this pedestal. We've put him there on purpose. And now, generations later, I'm going to go ahead and compare myself to that guy. Because,
Right.
he's the best. And I think of myself as that. I just think it's weird. It's all made up. You know what I mean? It's all, like, somebody could watch Hitchcock movies and go like, what a piece of shit. What are you all talking about? Someone could watch Citizen Kane, which I completely forgot. I watched it in film when I took film classes in college.
Watched it.
I remember thinking at the time, I do not understand why you're telling me this is the greatest movie of all time. Now, if I watched it again, maybe I would understand if it's crafted in a way that I know all the tools now that are necessary. I didn't necessarily then, but I just think it's dropping those names, and like if you paint a picture and say, well, now when Picasso did this, you're like, woo, really?
They even tried to jam in literary things into this movie, like that he's reading the books that his son gave him, and
so they're trying to elevate it to a standard that someone else has already made up. That's fiction. It's just funny.
Yeah, it is actually funny because it's like, oh, that little plot point of him reading books.
Yeah,
it's like. It's almost to try and make it seem a bit cleverer than it, but it really is not. So, those are your extras, and that's the movie basically. Like I say, it's actually a pretty proficient action movie that you will have fun with for a couple of hours. I think I did. Don't know about you, Cidtalk.
Yeah, I had a good time.
It's one of those. It is certainly not Geostorm.
That's supposed to be a compliment, because that is, yes.
Yeah, so I actually kind of enjoyed it. So thanks to Lionsgate for the 4K Blu-ray, and we both recommend it in a have fun at the movies on a Friday night and eat the popcorn type of way. I don't know why it has to be a Friday night. Could be any night, any of the...
It could. Most people don't commit to watching a movie until Friday, Saturday.
So next week's Blu-ray review is Downsizing, starring Matt Damon. We'll be looking at that next week. And movie recommendations. I am going on... First one is one of my... This movie, similar to this movie that I really like, is Flight Plan, starring Jodie Foster. Do you remember that one? It's from a long time.
It wasn't great.
Yeah, well, I actually really... It sticks with me, that one.
Killing Red, right? Or what his name is?
No, that was Red Eye.
Right.
Flight Plan was the one where it was like a brand new jumbo jet that was really technological.
Who was the bad guy?
Cannot remember. It's been such a time.
You loved it so much.
No, I still remember that about the plot. The plane, the really cool.
Yeah.
She designed this plane basically. This was the hook on that one. She designed the plane, and she's flying on its maiden voyage with a bunch of passengers. And then when something happens, she's the best person to go to, right? Because she knows everything about the plane. But she
has special skills.
She did. I recommend that one, Flight Plan. And my second one is Orphan, which is by this director, and I think it's a really cool horror movie. You don't want to know the twist because there is one.
No,
but it's cool, and I never saw it coming, and you don't think you did either.
No, because it doesn't make any sense.
And when you think about it afterwards, it's really weird and effed up. So
it is.
I really liked Orphan.
And my recommendations are, we're going to go back to some Liam Neeson charm, but I think The Grey, even though, again, not great, but a different setting and a different kind of thing, and I don't know, I remember thinking it was kind of good.
It is good. It's good.
And Love Actually, everybody's little love heart pitter-pat movie that you love so much.
I do love that movie. It's so cheesy, but it's so awesome. It's just cool. It's just...
I was just being lazy, really. I thought, Liam Neeson, I know what they are. There we go. I wasn't giving it much thought.
So, games and Ascully stuff. This week I've been playing pretty much one game, and it's called God of War. It is Sony's new platform exclusive, so it's only available on the PS4. It won't be on anything ever, just on the PS4. So, it is the new God of War game. I've played all 8 God of War games. This one's actually, in the grand scheme of things, God of War 4. There are a bunch of spin-offs along the way for the Vita and for the PlayStation 3. But you've seen some of this game this week, I guess. Mm-hmm. And you've seen other God of War games too. You've seen me play
all true.
God of War 3, I guess.
Not all of it, but yeah, some.
So what do you think of God of War?
It looks really good. Sounds like it has a good story. It gets you very intense. It's very loud, but that's down to you, not the game.
Yeah, it's got some really cool sound. That's why I turn it up.
I know you do. I mean, I don't know. I'm not sitting and watching the whole thing with you. So.
I had a boss fight earlier today with a giant, amazing-looking boss. The production values in this game are like, it's like $100 million game. It's like a AAA. There's money. The money spent on this is the money that they spend on like an Avengers movie. It's that high level, and it looks it right. It's amazing to look at, right? It's not.
It is, yeah.
God of War games have always been amazing to look at, but this one is outstanding. They've changed the camera angle, so like you're stood right behind Kratos. It's not like he's very small little. Like in the old God of War games, he was a tiny little blip sometimes on the screen, like very, very small climbing up a thing. But on this now, you're right behind him, so he feels really big. In fact, you said when you walked in, Kratos is really big.
Yeah.
But he's on this journey, basically, with his son. And the journey is, at the very beginning of the game, his wife dies.
You told him this a few days ago already.
Yeah, which is, I know, I'm explaining again. Is not a... His wife dies, and it's not a surprise for a God of War game, but they've got to take her ashes to the top of this mountain. It was a final wish, but this straightforward type journey, which it seems like it is going to be, is not straightforward because we're in Norse mythology. So you might encounter things like Thor, not the Marvel Thor, but the actual Thor that was not real either. But the god of Thor, you might encounter different gods along the way. You might encounter giant dragons and cool puzzles. There's a lot of I noticed there's a lot of Tomb Raider in this game. They do like Tomb Raider. You can tell, the new Tomb Raider. A lot of the puzzles in this game feel like you're playing Tomb Raider, but Kratos is there instead of Lara Croft. So it's also a little bit like The Last of Us, with you having a companion with you all the time and then you getting to know them throughout it. You know what I'm saying? With Ellie and Joel. Part of the cool thing about The Last of Us was the relationship between them both, right?
Yes.
So the relationship between Kratos and his son in this, it's actually developing along the way, even though I say to you every time Kratos says something, he's no fun, is he, Kratos? At all. There's no fun. So a conversation goes like this. Like,
boy,
his son will say, "So, Dad, can you tell me a story about like the gods or something?" And he'll go, "Boy," like that's how he sounds. "Boy, just focus on the task at hand. Don't ask me anything."
Beautiful.
And then the kid will be like, "Okay." So there's a lot of those conversations that don't really go anywhere. But the kid, throughout the thing, the kid, the other thing is the kid helps him in combat quite a lot because he's got a bow and arrow and he actually helps. And then at the end of a battle, when it's just died down, the kid will say to Kratos, "So how did I do, Father?" And he'll say, "You have a lot to learn." He never he never says, "That was awesome, son. You killed 3 guys for me, and I'm alive because of you." Doesn't say that. You got a lot to learn, or you should take your hand off the bow and fire faster, that kind of thing. So that happens a lot, and I'm always thinking, wow, this son really should turn around and try and kill Kratos, shouldn't he? Because Kratos is a dick. But eventually, slowly, as it's been going on, Kratos has started to give him little compliments, I've noticed. He actually said, in that last battle I had with the dragon, he said to the son, "You did pretty well, boy." So I imagine by the end he'll be kissing him and like patting him on the head and stuff. What do you think?
I don't know about that.
But the relationship seems to be growing slightly. The thing is, Kratos has been this boy's father his entire life, but never really part of his life. And you keep hearing things. The boy says stuff like, "You don't know anything about me. You would never even come and see me half the time, and you just wanted to be out hunting and stuff." So I think Kratos is a shitty father, and he's kind of regretting it as he goes through this journey. So, yeah, there's a lot more story to this God of War, even though it does amount to a
Clearly, you've talked about it for 2 weeks in a row now.
Yeah, well, last week I hadn't even played it. This week I have played it. last week it wasn't even out yet. But it is phenomenal graphics. I would give it Game of the Year for me so far. I mean, we're only in like April, but I've played quite a few games this year, and this is like the top-notch game. I mean, it's along the lines of an Uncharted game or a Last of Us game or a Horizon Zero Dawn. It's like a really, really top-notch game that I think anybody who's into action games would like to play, because it is like, you can see where the money went in this game. The voice acting, everything about it is awesome. In fact, I want to play it right now. So I can highly recommend God of War. It's on the PS4 only, so you have to have a PS4, but don't miss out on this one. If you're a video game person, don't miss out on God of War. So, Cidtalk, what is for dinner?
I believe we're going to do Jimmy and Wendy's. It's a new place we've made up. It's a Jimmy John vegetable sandwich, veggie. We're vegetarian. This is why we're telling you what we eat every week. And again, reminding you, it doesn't mean you're healthy. We like fast food, so we get Jimmy John's. Number 6, no avocado. I get onions and hot peppers. He does not.
Sometimes they get it right, sometimes they don't.
Yeah. The numbers are against you when you eat out a lot. You eat out enough, the percentage of times it's going to be wrong is going to go up, right? That's the way the universe works. However, we discovered a few weeks ago, because I went to Wendy's, I didn't want potato chips, or as you call them, crisps. I wanted French fries. And so I went to Wendy's and got me some fries. I gave you a few. You put them on your sandwich. Yeah. Because in England, they have what they call chip buddies. Because in England, a chip is a French fry, not a potato chip. It's very confusing. Cultural clash. But you put that on there. It is delicious. And so now I make the loop. I go to Wendy's, get the fries, drive around to Jimmy John's.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
It is really
Jimmy
good.
John's veggie sandwich with some fries on the sandwich.
Yeah, or,
Yum.
as you discovered as well, I've made mashed potatoes before, and you put it on there, and it was also good.
Yeah.
So that's what I have for supper.
All right, and what is your advice before we leave?
My advice is take the compliment. I'm not great at taking compliments often because, and I'm going to say this with the best of intentions. It's going to sound really horrible and bitchy, but people are really easily pleased, right? People are. I am in certain areas. Obviously, we just watched a really kind of dumb movie and I enjoyed it. That means I'm easily pleased in the movie department sometimes. But when you do things for people, or you do a thing, like I'm artsy fartsy, so I do artsy fartsy stuff, and I've done it my whole life, and I'm 50. So you know what? Again, the numbers are on my side. The more you do a thing, the better you get at it. It's repetition. It's a lot of time involved. That's it. You get better at a thing. You can't help it. And I'm not great. No. I'm not putting myself in that category. I'm just saying people look at a thing, a photograph or a thing I've drawn or made, and it's like, oh my God, that's so awesome. You are amazing. And I'm not exaggerating. I hear that. And my first reaction is to say, it's okay. Thanks, but it's, I just want to point out the flaws and it's not that great and I'm not amazing. I've done a million of the, I want to do that, but I'm learning again at 50 years old, just be like, thanks. And if you ever, do you want me to show you how to do this? Because definitely, oh no, I could never draw that. I could never do that. I draw banners, because you've seen many of them get drawn on our kitchen counter.
Oh yeah.
Big paper banners, hand draw the letters, hand draw the artwork and everything and paint them. And, it's a thing I've done so much that even this is why I'm telling you this. I impress myself.
Nice.
Again, is that really terrible? I'll look at it, I'm like, wow, that line is so straight. And yet I can't write my name to where you can read it. I have horrible handwriting, but I can take a paintbrush and do whoosh and paint such a straight line and then make letters and they look really good. They look like you could have printed them out. I'm just saying because that's the truth. It takes a lot of time and everything, but I'll be like, whoa, that's really cool. But if someone else says it to me, my first reaction is it's okay. So I'm learning. Just take the compliment because they genuinely mean it. People don't, at least the people I know, I don't get bullshit compliments. I really don't. I think because people know me. And they know better than to try to kiss my ass because I can see right through it. So I get genuine compliments on whatever little flyer I've made, or I make little fans to take to family reunions and stuff, just fun little things. And I'm learning, just let them tell you that they love it and they're impressed, and then move on. So take the compliment because you probably deserve it. Even if you're thinking to yourself, yeah, but your standards are really low.
Correct.
So take the compliment regardless of what it is. Unless somebody is trying to kiss your ass. And then you have to know the difference, because that's not good.
All right, so let me remind you about our websites, ascully.com and Cidtalk.com. You can catch this podcast on the Google Play Store, the YouTube. You can catch it on iTunes.
The YouTube.
You can also just go to ascully.com and click on the word podcast. And we have a subscribe page there where you can just click a button to subscribe pretty much on anything you want to. You can also catch us on Twitter and Facebook. We have a After the Show group on Facebook. If you want to join it, just go to Facebook and search for it. I believe you just search for After the Show. How do you find a group on Facebook? Any idea?
No.
No,
I mean, whatever you search for, it gives you whatever pages, groups, and whatnot. Especially if you've made it public, it'll show up.
Yeah, just type After the Show.
Yeah, if I start to type After the Show Movie Podcast, however, I am already on
Part of it, yeah.
But I start to type it and it pops up as a group. And then there's other things that have the phrase After the Show that pop up, so.
Right, so yeah, you can find that. You can also email me at ascully@ascully.com if you've got any feedback. Don't email Cidtalk because she don't really care. And
you can if you want to compliment me. I'll take it.
Yeah, and finally, stay classy, Liam Neeson. At 65 years old with that very special set of skills. You're pretty classy, dude.
And I'm going to say think for yourself, or someone will do it for you.